Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special Georgia Indy Talk section, just available on our YouTube and, of course, over at Patreon. We tried to break it out this week because we had a little more to talk about, Myron, than normal.
Yes. Suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
Believe in kayfabe, and I've gone and got that haircut I talked about on the last episode.
Absolutely.
But, wow!
Actually, the funny thing is this one will be before the other one, so that's a whole other. But depending on.
God, I'm out of sequence again.
Yeah.
I should be on AEW. Okay. Let's go. Let's dig right in. Where did we go Saturday, Nick?
So, yes. Let's start with last weekend. We went up to Anarchy, saw Anarchy Wrestling's big show. Look, they're on the road to, some people are on the road to WrestleMania. Others are on the road to Hardcore Hell.
I'm sure more impressed with the road to Hardcore Hell right now.
I'm sorry, the highway to Hardcore Hell. Let's go with that one, yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that one. Highway to Hardcore Hell.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good song. But, dude, that place was packed. And there's no place for the sound to go.
It was
packed.
Rocking.
God almighty. Folks, you have to see shows in that building to understand independent wrestling in the South and how it goes. Everybody has to go at least once. That's one. If we were to create a bucket list, easily Landmark Arena, Mucha Lucha, Southern Honor, Southern Fried. I could go on, but going to 300 people packed in that building. Now everybody said Terminus drew over 300 people. I looked at the video. I watched the show. Couldn't tell that, but in Anarchy you could tell there were 300 people in there because it was shoulder to shoulder, packed in. There were people from all over came out for that show. And I will tell you one thing I learned. When they turn the lights out in there, it's the darkest place on earth. Okay?
Creepy dark because of all of the black. They've blackened the walls and stuff like that. That's what it is.
Oh, shit. Okay, but we'll go into later why it was so scary, though. Got some Skrilla. Got us some Skrilla in the show. That was good.
Listen, man, I tell people all the time, it's funny, it seems like everywhere he goes, Skrilla comes in and they're like, oh, we'll use him, which is, by the way, that's kind of like how, I get it. That's how promotions work, right? They bring you in, they try you out or whatever, and then he impresses, and then he comes back, and he comes back, and he grows, and he grows, and he grows. I don't know that anybody, he always talks about Skrilla puts in the work. Like, that's not just a motto to him. That's like he goes everywhere and puts in the work. So don't be stunned if you see him in a bigger role, even down the road and, up there in Anarchy. I can see him being a player as time goes on and he elevates, through his hard work, of course.
Definitely.
So
definitely. And the person who makes Bray Wyatt look like a Disney character, the hardcore House of Hanson fellow, is the creepiest person right now in Georgia wrestling. And he brought out Lord Huckabee in a mask. This is a great take on this gimmick, man. It was awesome.
Yeah.
You take the mask off, Huckabee goes insane.
I think we're so old school, like 80s wrestling fans, 70s, 80s. Like, we love a good monster, right? Like, we love a, because whether it's Purple Haze, I'm really dating myself at that point. Kamala, Missing Link, Lord Humongous, exactly. Like, we love a good monster.
Yes. And,
here in Georgia, Cruel obviously is an example of that. But I think Huck in the mask, like, starts to set up especially the twisted, like, I think backstory there's got to be a twisted backstory to how he got there, how he gets to that spot. So definitely, and the whole cult-like following of the House of Hanson, I think, is going to be something that unravels, not unravels, not the word, that comes out and develops into something pretty creepy. And I think it's going to be an interesting take, to say the least, as they move forward. So
definitely. And Joe Black wins the Heritage title in 5 seconds.
Listen,
Scott Mason.
I'm sure Scott Mason wasn't ready. He was caught off guard. That's what he's going to go with. So it wasn't like, so we'll hear back from him. Now,
That place went insane again for that, man. It was, oh.
They love to hate Scott Mason. And guess
Mm-hmm.
what? And they love Joe Black. Put those two things together in the equation and you get a winner.
Yes.
Yes. But I'm sure there's, listen, last week on our regular show at the end of the thing, I said, listen, if you want to hear, if you want to stop hearing about the program, somebody's got to step up and start taking some titles away from them.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe
they can't
Black,
hardly
step
even
one.
carry. They end up lighting a load because, dude, they walk out there, they're covered in belts.
Yeah, but that was Mason's baby, man. He had been, literally that was his baby. So, congrats to Joe Black, who's going to put that, does that go to become the working man's belt now up there at Anarchy? Because that's what Joe does. But again, it's the first step. People are like, hey, stop talking about the program. I'm like, well, they dropped one title, but we'll get in a little bit more about why they can still run, they can still talk a lot, for sure. We talk about left-hand path is completely gaining momentum there. Towers and Silva. Look, Towers is over there, and I think bringing in Silva kind of even expanded onto that. So that group in general, they're gaining a lot of traction up there at Anarchy.
And what I'm most excited about is for Hardcore Hell, if we can get that match with Nick Halen and Sal Rinauro, that's going to be a phenomenal match.
Oh yeah, when he mentioned it,
phenomenal.
It's got to be the show stealer, right? At that point, two of some of the best wrestlers, and we're talking about wrestling matches. We're not talking about the storylines, angles, or whatever. We're talking about legitimate wrestling matches. Nick Halen has been going around saying, he's the best wrestler in Anarchy, Georgia, etc. Bringing in somebody like Sal Rinauro and putting him down for a 1-2-3 or picking up a W, especially at a show like Hardcore Hell, which is their key show for the year. That's a huge step for Nick Halen into making that, to saying like this is why he's your favorite wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but who's one of my favorite promos? Jeter.
Yeah.
Okay. Will Caution comes out and has a great match. Enjoyed it. And then Jeter comes out. They've got something building. Jeter's not going to let anybody take the belt away from Caution.
Yeah.
Between now and Hardcore Hell. Okay. Jeter pins Caution up in the corner. Like, stop moving when I'm talking to you, boy.
Manhandled him like a child.
Yeah. And then it was scary. This is a giant man. I mean, I don't know if you've ever actually realized how big Jeter is. He's giant. And he's got him in the corner and he's talking to him. And it was terrifying because it was right above where we were sitting. Just terrifying. Oh, God, so good. I'm looking forward to that. I'm just on promo alone.
Yeah, let me ask you a dumb question. Why would anybody challenge Will Caution between now and Hardcore Hell at that point?
I would. After what he did to that guy?
No, I'm saying like Jeter's coming after you from behind, or to your face for that matter, and he's not going to let you win. So just, you know what? I'll just chill. If I want a title shot, call me after Hardcore Hell, and maybe then I'll be interested in it.
Yeah, we'll work on something later.
Yeah. But look, speaking of championships and all the gold, we referenced them earlier. The program, Proc the Croc Johnson and Hunter James had the big match of the night, dude. This kind of shows you like how hot that crowd and what they were there for.
They were insane. The lights go out. Dan starts shrieking. Heavy metal music is playing. It's terrifying. He comes out with a goat's head. Tanky and Azrael are there. Little kids are running out of Landmark. Their parents are trying to hold on to their hands because the kids are going, get the hell out of this. People are running with little children. They're leaving the show because it was damn terrifying. Okay? Flashing lights in there. It was so dark, like you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face. And then those maniacs come out. It's terrifying. They go in how amazing is it when you go to a wrestling show and you're a smart wrestling fan, but you still get the emotion of something like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm not Mr. Deathmatch. Okay. And this really wasn't a death match. It was really, 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 a really, really hardcore. And that's my take on it. But I enjoyed what they did in this match because it was so different. I've never seen Proc in Hunter James worked that kind of match. It might have been the first one. It's the first one I've ever seen him do. It's something new. Some people who do, feats of strength and athletics get in a match that's not about feats of strength and athletics.
Right.
It's about chains and things and
sickles and chairs and skewers and yeah. And here's the thing. When we just rattled off those things, that was one of my things. Like, this match was everything you thought it was going to be and then some. Like, if you thought you knew what you were getting, you got it and then some.
Yeah.
Because look, Hunter James took that ass whooping like a man. He took it like a champ. Because that's exactly, I think when you get into that type of match with an Azrael and a Tank, the question's not like, are they going to whip your ass? It's like, how bad is it going to be? Yeah. And can we take it and still get the win? Like, that's your goal.
Yes. And they outlasted them. But there was some kind of magical interference.
There were shenanigans, absolutely.
Does Hanson have magic? I don't know. The lights went out. Azrael disappeared.
Listen now, hold on. You're blaming Hanson just because his hat was in the ring. That's a little like, look, I've watched a lot of SVU to know that you can't do that.
Dun, 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 dun.
You're going to have to prove to me that he did it first.
Okay, but it looked like it to me. And then of all things, Azrael's gone. The program wins. They bring out Iceberg. Iceberg and Tank, 25 years in that building. First time in 10 years they've been in that ring. Touching moment. They took pictures. Yeah. We did our normal walk around, shake everybody's hands, go in the back, say people. It was the boys were having so much fun. It was so intense. We was like, let's get out of here and this is their stuff. This is not for us we're not press or paparazzi, but we like to go schmooze. Like, no, this is these guys' time. Let's get out of here and let them enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I was touched by the whole thing. Always good to see Brett Wolverton. Always great to see our wrestling friends that go to Anarchy. Wow, folks. I don't know what. Here's the thing. If anybody was booking this besides about Hankins, I'd be like, well, he shot his wife. Okay? There's no way he's got nothing left for Hardcore Hell. But I think Hankins is an evil genius that uses his powers for wrestling instead of real evil.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt Hankins is going to come up with something amazing between now and Hardcore. Or it's already booked. I know it is.
Yeah, sure.
It's not going to disappoint. Hardcore Hell is going to be insane.
But when you have the tools in the toolbox to work with, I'm not saying obviously that obviously Hankins is really good at what he's doing up there, and and kind of putting the pieces in the puzzle. Yes. But it really helps when you have some good pieces. And it was funny that when we were kind of walking around, you were starting to hear the talk of like people acknowledging the fact that Proc the Croc Johnson is starting to separate himself a little bit from the pack. Like he's special. Like it's funny. You hate, with the group and the egos involved in the program and things like that, but it's still, you got to give the devil his due. No pun intended. That the kid is setting himself apart, and everybody's starting to see it a little bit, how special he is and how much out down the road. And I think that's why down the road, he has the potential to be, he's already one of the top pieces there in Anarchy. And he's talking, so literally could be the top piece in Anarchy down the road and more. And I think that will expand out beyond Anarchy as things develop and other people see the range that's there. So, but that's my take.
But we've got a giant weekend upcoming. I am heartbroken. I'm going to be at work and miss all of this. We've got stacked cards everywhere. Friday night, Southern Honor, cage match, Joe and Owen. You've got an amazing card. Ali and Judas for the #1 contender. Tank is coming back to face Nathan, our friend and cameraman. I saw him and Michaela at Terminus shooting. Gunner and Bryce Cannon, Rekka and Heather Monroe, all other kind of stuff. And we're going to see what Brooklyn has to say. And then after last month's, I don't know what to call it. Yes, the Lynch brothers are going to come back and talk.
They're going to address
that should
the
be
crowd,
interesting.
Yeah. I
What's
think.
Saturday night hold?
Well, hold on. Before we move on from Southern Honor, man, I wanted, Joe and Owen, I think, in the cage hopefully ends this cycle like this. And I don't mean because I hate it. It's just this feud is built to the point of in a cage. We need the end to come. And then we set up down the road. Is it, Ali or Judas coming into the top mix? I think Tank and Gunner clearly are on a collision course. So definitely something you want to check out as well. And we're going to look next week. Join us. We'll go over everything that went down and kind of give our take on it. But like you said, yes, Myron, Saturday night, Southern Fried back in Monroe, lots of stuff. Dude, they're going to do a ladder match for the tag belts with Happy Madness, Palmetto Express, and Undeniable. That screams car crash.
Yeah, because that's like Dudley's, Edge and Christian, and the Hardy Boys type match. And you're going to be putting in those guys, some of the best wrestlers in Georgia, some great athletes. I'm heartbroken. I can't see this. I can't be there. You've got tag matches. You've got a Peruvian cage match. You got Strychnine and Techi, Bobby Moore versus Najee. And I've missed a show. So Judas is a babyface. I saw CT Keys become a heel. So Judas and David Ali versus Hawkins and CT Keys.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's going to be
blood.
everything.
Bad blood on all parts.
Well, dude, speaking of bad blood, I mean, that's at the top of the card. I don't know if it's the main event or not, but it very well could be. You could argue should be. Todd Sexton, Nick Halen, one-on-one.
Holy shit.
It doesn't get much more personal than that when it comes to,
But it's going to be a phenomenal match because both of those guys are excellent technicians.
I would beg to differ, man. I don't know this is going to be a great match. It's going to be a fight because when you start involving a man's wife, it gets so personal that I don't think that, we're going to get into like arm drag takedowns and, stuff like that. I think we're going to see more. I think you're going to see more fists and kicks than, brawling than anything. Not saying it won't be good. I'm just telling you it's going to be more fight than match. So, so check them out on Saturday.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, Mucha Lucha. I'm telling you, folks, this is something you need to see. This is a show that's going to draw 1,000 people in a venue that looks like it was built for wrestling. Just something special. You need to go watch this. This is going to be now with it being Lucha. I don't recognize some of the guys. I don't know everybody who's behind the mask, but I see Cruel, local favorite Cruel, Ray Fury, local favorite Blanco Loco, Sin Cara, and Marty Skrull. Wow.
Yeah, like I said, we talk about the poster like we don't we don't speak Spanish, so we don't see we don't get a lot of the poster. You see names, you see faces you recognize. Dude, this show's just about an event. It's you got to go and experience the whole the environment and everything that goes on. Mm-hmm. I think that ultimately lies why you need to see these shows. Mucha Lucha is an experience that has to be experienced if you're a wrestling fan.
Get a beer, get some street tacos. If you're little, get in the bounce houses. Buy some crazy merch and stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
A festival. And something new this weekend. Friday night, Deep South Wrestling. That's going to be in Atlanta, like downtown Atlanta. Nick Patrick, everybody knows Nick Patrick is putting on a wrestling show for a school he's got a school in Griffin now. And they're going to be bringing in a lot of local people. Skrilla, Najee, Simon Sermon.
Pretty good base there to start with, yeah.
Looks like a good venue. It looks like it's an old church. I really kind of want to see this.
By the way, free tickets.
Free tickets. If you go to their website and register, you get free tickets.
Yeah.
And then it's another Scenic City show this weekend. Scenic City Rumble. That's in sorry. The brain just stopped again. Chattanooga.
Yeah.
Chattanooga, Tennessee. AC Mac. Proc's going to be on the show. Tank's going to be on the show. Rumbles. Who doesn't like Rumble matches? So, man, I'm stoked.
Yeah, IWTV champion AC Mac's going to be your headliner there in the Rumble, in my opinion. So, but check out Proc, Tank, etc. down there as well. Lots and lots of stuff going on this weekend. So if you know, and of course we always talk about when it comes to Georgia Indy stuff, man, we always tell you, make sure if you're on Facebook, go find the Rob Rod report.
Yes.
I know he just put it out. He literally put it in while we were recording. I happened to see it, so I couldn't go through it for, but check it out. He has all of the shows that you don't want to miss if you're a fan here in the state of Georgia and the surrounding area, of course, as well. Make sure you're giving him a follow, a like, and all that good stuff over on the Facebook as well. So,
can there be a better place to be, a better time to be an indie wrestling fan than right now in Georgia?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
I don't think so. But, but man, hey, every week, make sure, because, like I said, we shot this video separate from our regular show, unlike, something we normally do. So everybody said, well, how will we know if you do it again? Make sure you're subscribing somewhere, anywhere, and everywhere. This will, like I said, this will not be on our podcast versions. It will only be on YouTube. So make sure you're a la carte. So again, the reason I say that is you want to make sure you're subscribing on YouTube, but you're also subscribing if you're a podcast listener on Spotify, iHeartMedia, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, etc. Whatever your preferred platform is for podcasts, make sure you're subscribing there, as well as on YouTube as well. Give us a 5-star rating and review, by the way, on the podcast platforms. And the key thing, Myron, on YouTube, make sure you're liking, but click that little bell to turn your notifications on, so you know exactly. So well, you can subscribe, but if you don't turn that little bell on, you got to know when new stuff comes out, whether it's the matches we're putting out, etc. And of course, everybody says, well, hey, you're also, if you're at patreon.com/tappedoutpod, you get everything and you get it. So that makes sense, right?
And let us know. Let us know what you think about us taking your dessert and separating it.
Yeah.
And giving you dessert early. We'll give you the dessert first if you like it that way.
Absolutely.
Maybe you don't like a meal. Maybe you just want to eat your pudding and you don't want to eat your meat. So, what time is it, though?
Well, man, you're right, man. Well, let's get on out of here if we ain't got nothing else. So what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.